So over the last couple days, we saw some pretty big announcements happen around crypto, and one of them was the announcement of Circle's new stablecoin initiative. Now, this has started to really kind of begin as a huge announcement for crypto, but now has kind of morphed into this, big negative thing for Ripple and even XRP. And they're actually calling this the RLUSD killer. That's what we are starting to see around the space. And I think that this is just comical because if you guys have been around this space for a while, you already know that there's been so many things marketed as, an Ethereum killer, a Bitcoin killer, an XRP killer. And it's just a conversation piece almost every single cycle. Something happens where it gets deemed the X or so and so killer. But in this video, I actually want to address this. I want to talk about it. So welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So let's dive on into RLUSD a little bit and talk a little bit about what has happened over the last couple weeks. So I have been fully focused on the supply of RLUSD, and it has been growing. We're sitting at about roughly 317 million, and the volume is actually up about 7%, nothing too crazy. But what's great about this is that we could see RLUSD has now been climbing up the ranks in terms of the top stablecoins. This is great to see. I do think that we should pay attention to this because it's showing us that Ripple is becoming very successful in their, push to have RLUSD become a top 5 stablecoin. Now they do mention in the US. So if we're really kind of looking at USD stablecoins specifically, they're not too far off. And if they did start to really kind of push towards that 1 billion mark, then they would immediately be in terms like the top 7, top 8 mark, roughly. They would be almost flipping some of the biggest projects out there around stablecoins, including, of course, PayPal. So, when we think about how close RLUSD is to that top 5, it's not too far off. And I do think that it does happen by the end of this year. Now, also on top of that, in terms of RLUSD, there is about 344 million tied to it. So we didn't actually get a full update over on CoinMarketCap just yet around RLUSD. It is behind a little bit, but the monthly transfer volume is something that I've been watching because there's actually over $1.5 billion worth of monthly transfer volume tied back to RLUSD. This is actually up 82% in the last 30 days. And we're well over 31,000 holders as well for RLUSD and over almost 100% of a gain in terms of the market cap for RLUSD as well. So again, we could see that growth happening. Now, you might already notice, and I'm sure that a lot of you are probably going to say it as well, yeah, a large portion of RLUSD is on Ethereum. Why is this? Well, it's because of the DeFi market. This is something that I've also mentioned quite a bit on this channel. Ethereum has well over 1,000 plus protocols tied to it around the DeFi space, and it is a DeFi, it's basically the ocean of DeFi at this point. And until that does start to kind of flip, and I think that EVM sidechains and bridges will be that big thing that actually flips that, we're probably going to see RLUSD grow substantially on Ethereum. Now, there still is 94 million RLUSD tied back to the XRP ledger, which is still very exciting. But outside of how successful RLUSD has been, there has been some pretty big updates happening, specifically on Ethereum with RLUSD. And I want to dive into this because, again, we are still talking about Ethereum, the DeFi side of things, and how big this is for RLUSD and how eventually it will be big for XRP as well. So here we have from vet_x0, 39 million in RLUSD has been burned on the XRP ledger and mint it on Ethereum. Many speculate on the reasons for it. Before we dive into how the UK SBI and institutional liquidity is behind it, we need to get a tiny educational piece in for this. Stablecoin issuers like Circle and Tether regularly do inventory transfers. These are transfers of issuer-owned stablecoins to react quick to shortages and demand spikes across supported blockchains. I strongly believe the recent RLUSD burn on the XRP ledger and minting on Ethereum is Ripple shuffling inventory reacting to demand, coinciding with major ETH DeFi protocol listings for RLUSD, which I'll get to here in a second. In particular, inventory is sent to B2C2 group. Mintings on Ethereum end up in their wallets. B2C2 is a UK-based crypto liquidity provider acquired by SBI Holdings in 2020. They handle institutional liquidity and OTC trading and derivatives for clients. And here we do have that update of the burning, and then also the minting on Ethereum as well. And then also over here, we do have the updates from RL tracker. And then also we have the Ethereum, the ETH side in terms of like Etherscan. We could see it all on chain and track it. And then of course, here we have B2C2. So yeah, this did happen. And what's interesting about this is that everyone will say that this is extremely bearish because, they're moving from the XRP ledger to Ethereum. Doesn't really matter, right? Like that's not what I'm focused on here. What I'm actually focused on is how efficient this was. Krippenreiter actually put out a great post talking about this, and this is what it looks like when RLUSD jumps from XRP ledger over to Ethereum using burn to mint via Ripple with a 22-second delay. So in 22 seconds, they were able to burn 12 million RLUSD and then mint the same amount on Ethereum in 22 seconds. Think about how crazy that is. This is how efficiency looks. This is exciting to see. But the reason why this did happen, and I do agree with Vet on this, I do think that it was Ripple reacting to the demand. Because if we actually look at this, Aave added RLUSD, so users can now supply and borrow RLUSD. And this is through the Aave V3 Ethereum core market. The supply cap has been set to 50 million, while the borrower cap is set at 5 million. And then Aave did update us recently. And we have that RLUSD by Ripple is growing quickly, 0 to 76 million supplied in just 4 days alone. So this is exactly why these transactions did happen. A lot of people said like, oh, Ripple's ditching, the XRP ledger. It's just ridiculous kinds of conversations that happen when we see anything that's not XRP related or, XRP positive. Every single time that we see an announcement like that, everyone jumps on it so quick, and I don't understand why. Also, Curve Finance as well did release the RLUSD pool, and it was second by volume on Curve, which, Curve is massive. They have well over 375,000 followers almost, and we could see the TVL sitting over like $52 million. I didn't check it today, but I wouldn't be, surprised if this was well over like 70 million at this point. So we could see that the DeFi market for RLUSD is continuing to grow. Now let's talk about the RLUSD killer, right? So this is the announcement from Circle. Now, I really just want everyone to realize that, when we think about this space, I've talked about this recently with comparisons with crypto projects. Like, oh, is XLM better than XRP, or is XRP better than XLM? This whole like comparison game is just, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time, and it's a waste of energy, because there's going to be multiple winners here. Ripple is not going to be the only one that's going to be utilized for payments or for, stablecoin initiatives. XRP is not going to move all the money. Like, these are conversations that were happening 5 years ago. It's a completely different world today. We know it's a multi-chain future. We know that there's going to be multiple winners, and Circle's going to be one of them. Ripple's going to be another one. I don't think that we have to have these conversations of like, oh, this is the Ripple killer, right? Like, no, I don't think that we have to have those conversations. But here we have the announcement. So, announcing Circle Payments Network, a streamlined way for financial institutions to connect, orchestrating global money movements powered by stablecoins like USDC and ERC for 24/7 real-time settlement. Existing cross-border payments can be slow and expensive. CPN is designed to bring efficiencies to the payment system. With CPN, banks and payment providers can move money at internet speed using fully reserved digital dollars and euros. It is not just faster, it is programmable, secure, and always available. It will support invoice payments, remittances, treasury services, payroll, and contractor payouts. Leading banks are contributing their deep expertise in global payments to design a network that meets the needs of banks worldwide. The global network is already taking shape with over 20 designed partners, including dLocal Payments, World Remit, Bank Finance, which, by the way, it's interesting because a few of these names are actually partners of Ripple. Yellow Card app, and then Coins PH and more. We're not just building stablecoins. We are building a modern infrastructure for global payments. And then, of course, we do also have a few other partners here, and they break them all down. It's very interesting. Very interesting because, like I said, a lot of these are major Ripple partners. Like, for an example, like Zodiac Markets. This is Zodiac Custody. Like, this is a part of Zodiac Custody, which is tapped in with Ripple Custody. You also have Onafreak here. Onafreak is partnered up with Ripple. We already know that. There's a lot of great names here, and I still don't think that this is going to be a Ripple killer because this is a multi-network initiative here for payments. But we also have a complete breakdown from DHN Crypto on this. This is the new payment platform. This is basically how the strategy and vision behind this will work. So we can see the network at the center point, the circle platform on the bottom. You also have the service providers, the business payments, consumer payments, and then institutional payments as well. This is targeting everything around payments. Now, again, it's not just going to be Circle winning here. It's going to be, multiple players. We also have the CPN supports multiple payments and value exchanges, enabling secure cross-chain stablecoin transactions. This is what it looks like. And then also, among many, government and humanitarian aid are listed as potential use cases in the white paper. Lots of talk about this recently. Ultimately, the plan is to expand because this is all about expansion. CPN serves a new protocol later in a comprehensive, open, and internet-based system with USDC, ERC, and eventually other regulated stablecoins at its core. So this is very exciting to see. I think that this is great for the space. I think that it's great for stablecoins. And do I think that this is a direct competitor to Ripple? Now, a direct competitor and a killer are two different things. Yes, I do think that this is, a little bit of competition. Do I think that they're going to kill Ripple? Do I think that they're going to kill RLUSD? Absolutely not. In fact, we do know that there was an article talking about RLUSD when it officially got launched. We have given Ripple's institutional focus that matters. While Circle's USDC is generally considered safe and regulated, a lack of a trust charter is a weakness from an institutional perspective. Ripple already has that trust charter. So, there it puts them above Circle in just one step. Also, big shout to Smoke Dog for this. We have Circle's payments platform does not pose a serious threat to Ripple's payment strategy. The claim that Circle's new payments platform powered by USDC will challenge Ripple's XRP and RLUSD is overstated. USDC operates on networks like Ethereum and Solana. Circle doesn't control the infrastructure it relies on. That means limitations in speed, cost, and scalability, especially for cross-border payments. Ripple, by contrast, has both the XRP ledger and RLUSD. The XRP ledger settles transactions in 3 to 5 seconds with near zero fees. RLUSD adds a dollar-based stablecoin to that ecosystem, giving Ripple full control over both the asset and the network it runs on. That level of integration allows Ripple to offer faster, cheaper, and more seamless global payments. Circle still depends on third parties to deliver similar functionality. USDC has strength in domestic payments and DeFi. Ripple is focused on cross-border settlements, one of the largest untapped markets in finance, worth over 190 trillion. Now, again, if we're thinking about that, that's $190 trillion. I don't think that it really matters if Circle's adding another, network to the mix because it's $190 trillion. Ripple's on-demand liquidity eliminates the need for pre-funded accounts in different countries. USDC cannot replicate that without major changes to its model. RLUSD strengthens Ripple's offering by adding a compliant dollar-pegged option within its native system. Financially, Circle splits 50% of the USDC revenue with Coinbase, which reduces its margins and adds operational risk. Ripple is not tied to another company's revenue model and has continued to expand despite regulatory challenges. Circle's partnerships, like with MoneyGram, are solid, but Ripple's connection to BlackRock through Ondo Finance is on another level. BlackRock is actively working to bring tokenized assets on chain, and Ripple is one of the few platforms positioned to support that infrastructure. As stablecoin regulation advances and institutions begin issuing their own tokens, Ripple's dual-layered approach with XRP and RLUSD becomes much more attractive. Circle is a major player, but its platform is still limited by outside dependencies. Ripple owns its rails, its liquidity, and its long-term strategy. That gives it a significant edge as the next phase of crypto adoption takes shape. And this is all documented, by the way, as you guys can see here. You know, again, like when we are thinking about what's going on, right now, if we think about this space, there's a lot of people that would just love to jump on anything anti-Ripple, anti-XRP, or even anti-RLUSD. We've seen this over the years. It's nothing new. I think that this is something that we don't have to worry about. I'm not concerned about it. I don't think that it really changes anything. I think that this is great for the space. It shows us that stablecoins, you know, are becoming a much bigger deal here. Stablecoin issuers are starting to innovate. They're starting to expand, which is also good. It means that the entire ecosystem around crypto is opening up. There's a lot more demand here. There's a lot more value here. There's a lot more users and institutions here. A lot of people will take this and run with it in a negative way. You could also take this and run with it in a positive, neutral way, which is exactly what I'm looking at this, you know, in a way, right? Because this is still very beneficial for the space. It's not really that negative at all for Ripple. Is it a competitor? Sure it is, but you know, I'm not too worried, especially with Ripple having the trust charter and also their dual layered approach, just like Smoke Dog is saying. It really does provide us with a sense of, you know, how far ahead Ripple is compared to the rest, but it also shows us the arsenal that Ripple does have behind them, and it's stacked. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.